So, as I'm chatting to people and getting a few questions about the process that I have gone through in order to go from just an idea about an AI powered product into actually having something that's out there in production that people can use. And so, I'm going to create a series of videos about some of the steps that I went through. Now, one of the first exercises I went through is to actually get my idea and my thinking about how this product is going to come to life on a page. And whilst I'm creating a product that is a product and a company in its own right, this works just as well, maybe even more so, if you're working in an enterprise and you've got an idea for a new AI product, a new AI value proposition that you want to take out within the context of an overall company. And so I'm going to walk you through that. Now, what you've got on your screen is the business model canvas from the team at Strategyzer. And if you can see just in my little photo, here we've got the book, Business Model Generation. Now, if you go onto Amazon, get the book. It's a really great guide through building this business model canvas out. And then at strategyzer.com, you can download this template and you can find it online in a number of places as well. So to start with, we're going to start on the right-hand side, which is the customer segments. Who is it that this product is going to service? Now, I split this out into two types. So firstly, the ICP, the ideal customer profile. What's the type of company that I will be selling this product into? And so in my example of Kowalah, it's a platform to help buying teams or buying groups to run a great buying process. So I'm aiming at companies that are in the sort of 5 million to 100 million revenue space. Not too small, not too big, kind of Goldilocks companies is how I think about them. They're growing, they're buying new things, and they're mainly in the non-tech sectors. So they're not so familiar with some of the terminology and the categories that they might be buying. So that might be companies in manufacturing, finance, healthcare, and so on. They're probably first-time buyers of this type of category. So they're not looking at a renewal or an upgrade. They haven't got a lot of experience in buying this particular category of software. And it's a decent size project. So it might be CRM, it might be a new payroll system. So it's an occasional purchase, but it's high impact if it goes wrong or goes right. And certainly for the start, I'm focusing at the US market, which is obviously the largest when it comes to tech, and then the UK, because that's where I'm based, and obviously it's the same language. Then beyond the ICP, we start thinking about the buyer personas. So who are the individual people that might be users of this product? So firstly, it is the project lead who is running this buying process. And that's quite an ephemeral role. You're either running that project at that moment or you're not. It's not like something you're going to have on your LinkedIn profile. But typically, it's a director level person that has been tasked with leading this buying process and maybe the implementation of that project. A secondary persona might be the exec sponsor. So who is that CXO or VP that is going to sign this thing off? The CFO, the person that is ultimately going to sign off the budget for this specific project. And then the wider buying group. So that might be IT, legal, InfoSec. It's all of the people that are involved in a buying process. These are the people that we can help with Kowalah because we can provide them with an ability to get up to speed with the project quickly. So for you, when you're building out your business model canvas, think about how your new AI product or platform, who it's going to service. And that may be slightly different to your core customer segment, or it may be a sub-segment or a niche within that where you're going to be able to provide a new level of service to them. So the second area that we're going to focus on, we're going to jump across to the left to the value propositions. So for this target buyer persona, what is it that we can really help them with? They're not interested in whether we've got a nice product or whether it looks nice or whether it's got a great name. They want to know how is it going to specifically help them. And we think about roughly four main categories. So is this something new that they don't have access to today? So many buying groups do not have access to the skills that they need in-house to be able to run a great buying process. So typically for anything that's larger than, I don't know, 10, 20K, they're starting to think about getting external experience. And that might be a buying consultant, someone that's got experience around that specific category. So we're providing them something new where they can get access to that kind of information and expertise in a different format. A second value proposition is about speed and accessibility. So how fast can they get access to this information? Well, if you are going to use an external consultant, you've got to find someone and you've got to hope that they are available, but are they available 24/7? Do they have immediate knowledge of everything that's going on in that category? Maybe not. So we can bring your new members of the buying team up to speed fast by using this new platform. A key thing, certainly for Kowalah, is about risk reduction. How do we, with our proposition, remove risk from the customer? Well, we know that 54% of companies that stay with the status quo in a buying process do so because they're just scared of making the wrong decision. Yes, they can see some value in what's out there, but they just don't feel confident enough to make the decision and have that hanging around their neck. So they stay with what they've got. So think about how, with your product, your new AI product, you can remove risk from your customers' world. And then the fourth area is about customization. How is it that what we're providing can be customized and configured around specifically what that company wants? We think about, in this example, using an external consultant. Well, we're restricted by what that external consultant knows and their experience. So their advice is very much going to be governed around that. Whereas in our situation with Kowalah, we can now provide people with immediate and instant access to a huge range of different software categories, but also customized around the customer's specific scenario. So what's our value proposition to those buyer personas? We've got something new that they don't have access to today. It's always available. We can bring people up to speed fast. We're going to remove risk from the buying team's decision, and we're able to customize that around the customer's specific scenario. Next up, the customer relationship. So what kind of relationship are you going to have with your customer using this new platform? Well, in Kowalah's case, it's a digital platform. So we're going to be providing this purely through an online relationship. But we want to make sure that those first 1,000 users have an amazingly personalized experience, and we help them because this is a new way of doing things. So there'll be some personal onboarding. And then as each customer starts using this tool, they're going to use it in ways that I could never have imagined. So we want to figure out how to connect up these different cohorts as they join the platform so that they can share their experiences and use cases between them. So think also about your product and how that relationship will be built with your customers. Is it one-to-many? Is it self-serve? Is it very customized? Is it high touch? Think about that. Next, we drop down one to channel. So this is how are we going to reach our customers, both in terms of raising awareness and how they're going to evaluate your product, how they're going to purchase it, how you're going to support it. So is this the same as your core offering? Maybe you sell directly, maybe you sell through partners, maybe you sell online. Is it going to be the same as that? Or is your AI product going to use slightly different channels? In my example with Kowalah, everyone's purchasing digitally at kowalah.com. It's an online platform. I'll be reaching out to potential customers via my network through personal outreach to CFOs, talking to them about the challenge of risk in buying decisions. We'll be creating a large amount of content. This is very much going to be driven by people searching for, how do I buy a CRM? How do I buy a payroll platform? And so on. So lots of buying guides, lots of programmatic SEO, lots of video content to capture people's interest and imagination and lead them towards Kowalah. And then finally, partners. So there are a lot of other people that are interested in people having a great buying process, and that is the sales people at the vendors. So we'll be exploring relationships with technology vendor teams and maybe product review platforms like G2. if we can provide this amazing buying platform, then who else is interested in the people that are using that? So having done that, we now move over to the left-hand side and we think about 3 boxes, which are what are the things that we need in order to deliver this value proposition into our customer segments. So first thing, key activities. What do we need to do to launch this AI product or platform? So in my scenario, well, I need to launch V1. I got bored of telling people I'm building an app or building a product. I want to say I run this product. And so getting version 1 out there, your MVP, and then adding some rapid sprints to add more functionality as we go. Secondly, for me, gaining speaking slots focused on building with AI. There is a huge amount of interest in how you use AI tools to launch products. And seeing as that's exactly what I've done, it's a great opportunity for me to share that story. And of course, the end result of that is talking about Kowalah. So those speaking slots are going to be very valuable. You cannot spend enough time speaking to customers. I think I know how people are going to use this. I think I know what problems it's going to solve, but I need to speak to people that are actually using it. And so I'll be dedicating a lot of time to speaking to actual customers and figuring out how they're using it or how they're not using it. And then a key thing for me is signing the first paying teams. We'll come on to licenses in a moment, but funding the growth of Kowalah through people paying for the product is a key activity. Next up, key resources. So what things do we need in order to deliver this? Well, here we think about things like human capital. We think about real financial capital. We think about IP, intellectual property, the things that we need. And maybe you need an office. Maybe you need some physical things to develop your product. So for me personally, I'm developing this myself, but I'm not a deeply technical person, deeply technical engineer. So it would be getting a first engineer to take on the development of the platform. Cash, but to come from first customers rather than from investors. Trademarking Kowalah in the relevant territories, and potentially as we grow, some data or knowledge that will feed our database around the top software categories. Those are the core things that we might need to feed the engine. Then we jump onto the left, key partners. What partners might you need to launch your product or platform? And these may be different from the partners that you use in your core business. So in my example for Kowalah, we're thinking about the foundation models. I'm running both OpenAI and Anthropic models in the MVP. Thinking about the tech stack. So I'm using Supabase as the database, Stripe for billing, Clark for authentication, Vercel for hosting, and also the AI SDK, and a few other things like GitHub and so on. But what is it that is going to be in your tech stack as your partners? And then for me, again, thinking about the channel and the route to market. So technology vendors, could this be something that they use as part of their own sales process? You know, how better to help your buyers to buy than give them a platform like Kowalah that is going to help serve them up and reduce the risk towards the end of their buying process? Could we partner with those technology vendors to incorporate their knowledge into Kowalah in terms of pricing or data sheets or demos and so on? And then I'm also thinking about buying consultants or procurement consultants. Could this be part of their offering? Or maybe it's competitive. Is there a period of time where they might consider adding Kowalah to part of their offering to their own customers? So for your product, think through the partners and how they can help you to deliver and to distribute your product. And then the final two sections of the business model canvas are around the cost structure and the revenue stream. So in terms of the cost structure, think about what it's going to take to both build this AI product that you're launching and also to run it. Now, in my scenario, I built it myself, so there is not a huge investment in software engineers or software development agencies, but you might want to add that in. There's accounting, legal services if you haven't got them already. You might be having to create new terms and conditions or data protection if this is the first technology product that you've launched. In my example, we've got a tech stack: Superbase, Stripe, Clark, OpenAI, and I put pay as we grow. Most of these are consumption-based platforms, so low entry or free entry, and then they'll grow as we scale. I'm adding in engineers. Those will be the actual people that will build this as we scale the product. Sales and marketing as we target larger enterprise accounts and move from the PLG motion. And I'm a big believer in person. I just think that you can collaborate and iterate much faster in person. So that'll be something I'll be investigating as we bring on members of the team. And then on the revenue stream, on the right-hand side, the final category, I'm working on these three license types. So a free license entry point, which is very much sort of PLG. If you're an independent, an individual member of a buying group, you can sign up to Kowalah. You can have 5 free chats. You can get a feel for it and see if it meets your needs and if it's going to help you. Then you can upgrade to an individual license. And my unit of measure is not a user. Very much in AI, we're moving away from seat-based or user-based, and it's much more towards either a consumption, usage-based, or outcomes. And so for me, the unit of measure is a concurrent buying process. So as an individual license, you get one concurrent buying process and one user at $59 a month. If you actually want to invite the rest of your buying team, then you get a team license. And this is a bundle of 5 concurrent buying processes and up to 50 users. So it's the concurrent buying processes, which is the main metric. And you can obviously buy more than one bundle. And in my example, team licenses are separate to individual licenses to keep the corporate data separate. So even if you've got an individual license, if you were then going to add on a team license, you'd end up with an individual and a team license. You could cancel the individual one if you want, and it just means that keeps that separate. You probably have some different billing from the company for that as well. So I hope that has been a useful walkthrough of the business model canvas. As you are starting to think through your new AI value propositions, this is a great way of you either individually or ideally with your broader team that are working on this product to think through and challenge some of your assumptions about who your customers are, how you reach them, the kind of partners that you have. Don't just bolt AI on as a little product addition to what you already sell. This really is an opportunity for you to transform how you go to market and to target a new sector with a new set of value propositions. And in the next video, what I'm going to do is dive in one level deeper, and we're going to expand on those value propositions for the key buyer personas around the project lead, the exec sponsor, and the CFO. And I'll talk you through the process that I went through there. I hope that was useful. If you are intrigued about Kowalah and how that can help you as a buyer or part of a buying group, then go to kowalah.com and you can sign up onto one of those free licenses and experience 5 free chats.